أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى كما ورد في أول سورة البقرة أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. وقال تبارك وتعالى كما ورد في آخر نفس السورة آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. وقال عز وجل كما ورد في وسط السورة ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين. وقال جل وعلا كما ورد في سورة الأنعام فأي الفريقين أحق بالأمن إن كنتم تعلمون الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون. صدق الله العظيم. وعن طلحة بن عبيد الله رضي الله تعالى عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا رأى الهلال يقول اللهم أهله علينا بالأمن والإيمان والسلامة والإسلام. رواه الإمام الترمذي رحمه الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم ربنا ألهمنا رشدنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. اللهم ربنا نور قلوبنا بالإيمان واشرح صدورنا للإسلام ووفقنا لما تحب وترضى آمين يا رب العالمين. Dear brothers and sisters and sons and daughters in Islam, with the name of Allah, we begin with this series of lectures on the main themes of the Quran. The most basic and the most important theme of the Quran is what is Iman. So I propose to give 4 lectures of 1 hour each on what is Iman. Then inshallah we shall try to understand the converse of Iman and Tawheed, that is Shirk. Then you know this Iman, because it is an ideology, it's a Weltanschauung in the German philosophical terminology, it's a worldview. It takes the form of a social order, a whole politico-socio-economic system that is called the system of Khilafah. So we should try to understand what that Khilafah is and how it can be implemented. Then there are 2 more subjects which are very important and basic, and that is what is jihad, what is meant by jihad fi sabilillah, what are the different levels of jihad and what are the requirements and prerequisites of each level. And finally we shall try to understand what is nifaq according to the Quran and the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So with the name of Allah and praying Him that He gives me the strength to fulfill what I have decided to do, and I also solicit your help by concentrating your attention and praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives me the ability and the strength to do what I intend to do. So now please let us start with our discussion regarding Iman. I propose to discuss this issue under 10 headings, and let me give you the list of those headings in the very beginning. Number 1, what is the literal meaning of the word Iman? Number two, what Iman means as a basic term of Quran. That is to say, what is the technical definition of Iman? Number three, what is the subject matter of Iman? Number four, the main articles of Iman or main articles of faith and their relative importance as compared to each other. Number five, two aspects of Iman, that is the legal Iman and the real Iman. What are the differences between the two? Number six, the relationship between Iman and Amal, whether these two things are separate entities or they are an organic whole. What is the connection, the relationship between the two, the Iman and the Amal, the faith and the deeds? Number seven, the solution of the age-old controversy, whether Iman increases as well as decreases, or it neither increases nor decreases. Number eight, the relationship between Iman and Amn, that is internal tranquility and peace. Number nine, the relationship between Iman and Jihad fi sabilillah. Are they related to each other or not? Is Jihad essential prerequisite of Iman, or is it included in the very definition of Iman? Lastly, number 10, how to get real Iman and where to get it from. So you must have appreciated that we have to go a long way. This is a list of very important topics. At the same time, you must have appreciated how neglected this issue has been. We have been under a wrong notion that we have Iman. And if you ask a Muslim what is Iman, in most cases he will be perplexed as to what to say, especially the non-Arab Muslims, because at least the Arab Muslims will be able to say what Iman means literally. But the non-Arab Muslims, especially people from the Indo-Pakistan subcontinent, they will be just, perplexed at this question. And they will say, Iman is Iman, that's all. We can't say anything more regarding Iman. Now, I have given you the list of the 10 most important headings of what Iman is, because my diagnosis is that actually where we are lacking, the whole Ummah, is this place that we don't have the real Iman, the Iman which reaches conviction. And only the conviction can transform the character and practical attitude of a person. All that we have is a racial creed. We profess to believe in certain things, and that is also only because we were born of certain parents, because they believed in certain things. So actually, our Iman at the present time is a racial creed. It's not a conviction with us. And that is why the condition of the Ummah, because the Quran says at one place, Antumul alawna in kuntum mu'minin. O Muslims, la tahinu wa la tahzanu. Don't have any fear. Don't be anxious. Don't have anxiety. You will remain supreme if you are real mu'mins. Antumul a'launa in kuntum mu'minin. A'laun is plural of a'la. A'la is the one who is supreme, who is above all. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. We use this word in our sajda, in our prostration. So A'laun is the plural of A'la. Antumul a'laun in kuntum mu'minin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you will be supreme, you will dominate the earth if you are real mu'min. And we are not dominating, we are being dominated. We have been put to extreme humiliation. We have no honor in this world. So actually, this proves, and this is an ample proof for that we don't have the real Iman. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot tell a lie. Ma'azallah, whatever He has said is true. Antumul a'launa in kuntum mu'minin. And we are not a'laun. Actually, we are, the humiliated ones. So what does it mean? That we don't have the real Iman. So now, I start with the first discussion as to what is the essential meaning, literal meaning of the word Iman. First of all, let me make a point the Arabic language is very mathematical language, and the 99.9 recurrent percent words of this language are derived from a three-lettered root. A very small number of the words, they come from a four-lettered root. A few are from five-lettered. But mostly, as I told you, 99.9% words, they are derived from a three-lettered root. And from that three-lettered root, so many words can be formed and framed at different patterns, which they call in Arabic the awzan. So, but every word is connected literally and in meanings to the basic root from which it is derived. The most simple example of that is ilm. And even those who don't know Arabic, they can frame so many words which are derived from this word, this three-lettered root of ilm. We know the word alim, who has knowledge, who has ilm. Ma'loom, the thing which is in the knowledge of somebody, which is known by the people. It is ma'loom. Then we have allama, the most knowledgeable person. Then we have muallim, who teaches knowledge to others. Then it is muta'allim, who is getting knowledge, who is trying to get knowledge. Istilam, to get information. So many words. Ta'aleem, to educate others. Ta'allum, to get knowledge for your own self. Istilam, to ask others to give you some knowledge. So all these words, they are derived from the same word, same three-lettered root, ilm. And the connection remains there between all these words and the root from which it has been derived. The best, simile is that of a tree. And Quran has given this simile, Masalu kalimatin tayyibatin kashajaratin tayyibatin asluha sabitun wa faruha fis sama. Just visualize and imagine a tree which has its roots fixed and firm in the soil. Then there is a trunk, then there are branches and sub-branches, then there are leaves, and the branches are very high and they are very broad. So actually this is the condition of this Arabic language. Every word being derived from a three-letter root, but from that there are branchings. So many words can be derived, and they are so many in number. Now let us see what is the root of Iman. This word has been derived from amn, and we know what is amn, and all the Muslims from the Indo-Pak subcontinent, they also know what is amn. Amn is a condition in which there is no fear, there is no anxiety, no frustration, no grief, no sorrow. This is amn. And let me make another point here. It's very peculiar to our religion, and it is very peculiar to the Quran, that the most basic terms, both of them, Iman, Islam, these are the very basic terms of our religion, Iman and Islam. And the meanings of these two words are the same. Both have a connection with peace. We must say it out, and we must bring it to the knowledge of our youth, because there is propaganda against the Muslims. Muslims are terrorists. And we can reply, how can a Muslim be a terrorist? Maybe certain, misguided people take to that resort, go that way, but a Muslim can never be a terrorist. Why? Because the basic teachings of the Quran, the book of Allah, they are based on these two terms, Iman, Islam. Iman derived from Amn. Islam derived from Salama. And Salama, Salamati in Urdu, what does it mean? It is the security, it is the outer peace. So actually Iman is the inner tranquility, inner peace of a person, inner tranquility of a person. And what is Islam? It's the outward expression, outward manifestation of that inner peace. If somebody is in peace with himself, then he will be at peace with his society also. But if there are conflicts, there are frustrations within the personality of a person, his behavior will become negative and he will be doing mischiefs to others also. So actually these two things are the two aspects of the same phenomenon. They are the two sides of the same picture. Iman within and Islam in your external attitude, in your behavior. It's the practical manifestation of Iman. I have discussed these things, in a very small pamphlet of mine that is titled, and it is present in English also, it is also in Urdu, Quran or Amne Alam. That is the title of that pamphlet in Urdu. Quran and the World Peace is the title of the pamphlet in English. And I have discussed these things. What is Iman, what is Islam? So actually this is a very important point, and I have stressed it in the very beginning. I am going to discuss what is the relationship between Iman and Islam, and we shall see it in detail and in depth. But in the very beginning I decided to make this point, that it should be brought home to all Muslims, and it should be taught to our youth, that our basic terminology, the two most basic and fundamental terms of our religion, they are Iman, derived from Amn, Islam from Salama, Salamati in Urdu we can call it. So it is actually, as I've said, both are one, two aspects of the same phenomenon, two sides of the same picture. Iman within, Amn within. Islam in our external manifestation and attitude, in our social behavior. Now, what is the meaning of this root according to the Quran? Let us now turn to Quran. Quran says at many places, La khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. For example, in Surah Yunus alayhi salatu wassalam, Ala inna awliya Allah la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. So actually, this is the definition of Aman. If a man is saved from fear, and number two, from anxiety and grief and sorrow, what does it mean? He has the Aman, the inner peace and the inner tranquility. Now in Arabic language, Amena ya'manu amnan. This means to be in peace yourself. Amena ya'manu amnan wa amanatan. And the ismul fa'il from this is aminun. Aminun means a person who is in amn, who is in peace. لَتَدْخُلُنَّ الْمَسْجِدَ الْحَرَامَ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ آمِنِينَ مُحَلِّقِينَ رُؤُوسَكُمْ وَمُقَصِّرِينَ لَا تَخَافُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised the Muslims that you will enter the Masjid al-Haram, the sacred mosque at Mecca, and in a condition that there will be no fear for you. You will be in Amn, Aminina. So Aminun means a person who is in Amn. Then Amana yuminu imanan. This is from Babul If'al. This means to give Iman, to give Amn to others, to give peace to others. And the Ismul Fa'il here is Mu'minun. And you must have recalled that one of the beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Mu'min, as we have it in the last but one ayah of Surah Al-Hashr. هُوَ اللَّهُ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ الْمَلِكُ الْقُدُّوسُ السَّلَامُ الْمُؤْمِنُ الْمُهَيْمِنُ الْعَزِيزُ الْجَبَّارُ الْمُتَكَبِّرُ. So there are two names included. This is a very peculiar ayah. There is no example in the whole of Quran. 9 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are included in one ayah. هُوَ اللَّهُ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ Allah, Al-Malik, Al-Quddus, Al-Salam, Al-Mu'min, Al-Muhaymin, Al-Aziz, Al-Jabbar, Al-Mutakabbir. 9 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala included and mentioned in one ayah. Here again you find the two names are As-Salam, Al-Mu'min. As-Salam is from the same root from which Islam is derived. And Al-Mu'min is from the same root from which Iman is derived. So here again you find both words, Islam and Iman, together. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is As-Salam. He is the peace. And He is Al-Mu'min. He is the only person who can give you real peace in your hearts, who can give you real tranquility, satisfaction in your hearts. So this is Amana Yuminu Imanan. Now you add one thing more, and our discussion on the literal meaning of Iman will be complete. In every language we have this phenomenon. If you add certain preposition to a verb, the meanings change. The most simple example in English is, everybody knows what to give means. To give, it has certain meanings and connotation. Now you add to give up. What does it mean? It's a world of difference. To give in, what does it mean? And absolutely new meanings. So to give, compare it to give in, again compare it to give up. Same is the case in Arabic. But in English we find there remains no connection between the meanings of to give and to give in and to give up. But in Arabic, after even you add prepositions, and that will result in addition of additional meanings to that. But the connection with the root will remain intact. It will not be severed or broken. So amana, if you add the word, and it is the harf-jar, ba or lam, amana be, amana le, amana lahu, amana bihi. What does it mean? To believe in someone, to accept the claim which someone is making. This is amana be, amana le. Suppose a person comes and he brings you news. Well, such and such incident has taken place just now, and you accept. This is amantum bihi, amantum lahu. You had faith in him, and you have accepted the news that he brought as true. And in the same way, someone comes to you and he makes a claim. For example, well, I am a very experienced physician, I can treat you. And you take him on his words, and you believe in him, and you hand yourself up to him, over to him. You know, because when somebody is ready to get a treatment from a doctor or a physician, it is as if he has handed over himself to him. Now he will prescribe, and whatever he prescribes you will take, because you have faith in him, that he has the knowledge, he has the expertise to advise you what to take. So actually, if you accept the claim of a person, or you accept the news that he has brought, so for that, this is amana be or amana le. Now what is the connection between the two? Because if somebody comes and says and tells you something, and you accept it, it's peace, aman, no conflict, no argument. And if you say no, you are telling a lie, an argument starts. Maybe physical scuffle also begins. It's just possible. He says, no, what I am saying it is true. And you say, no, what you are telling is a lie. So there is, now aman is finished. Now there is an argument, there is a conflict, and it can go to any extent. In the same way, somebody comes and says, and makes some claim about himself, you accept him. Okay, we accept your claim. So there's peace, you have given him peace. But if you contradict his claim, no, it's not so. We don't accept you as such. So there is an argument, there is a conflict, and again, let me say, this conflict can go to any extent, to a physical scuffle even. So this connection remains here. Amana bihi, they have faith in him, they believed in him. They accepted his claim. So this much should suffice regarding the literal discussion on the meaning of the word Iman, derived from the three-lettered root aman. Amana yamanu amnan, to be in peace yourself. Amana yuminu imanan, to give peace to someone else. Amana be, amana le, to believe in someone and to accept his claim. Now we go to the second heading of our discussion. What is the technical definition of Iman? What this means as a term. And here again, let me give you a basic principle. Because, Quran was revealed in Arabic language. So all its basic terminology has been derived from Arabic language. But Quran has picked and chosen words from the Arabic language and then added to those words additional meanings to make them the terms. As you know, in every science, in every field of knowledge, there is a peculiar terminology. You must be familiar with the terminology. If you want to study physics, you must know the basic terminology which are used in this science. If you are going to study chemistry, you must know the basic terminology of this science. In the same way, every science, whether it is political science, social sciences, or physical sciences, everything has its own peculiar terminology. So Quran has also its own peculiar terminology. But this terminology is based on the words that Quran picked and chose from the vocabulary of the Arabic language, which was existing before Quran was revealed. So now Iman, it has a literal meaning. And Iman as a term, as a basic terminology of the Quran, it has a specific meaning. Now what is it? Al-Imanu tasdeequ bima jaa bihin nabiyyu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Iman technically means to believe in the prophets of Allah, to accept their claim that they are prophets of Allah. Whatever they are saying is not from their own minds, their own thinking, their own logic. It is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was revealed to them. So if you are accepting their claim of prophethood or messengerhood of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and on that basis you accept whatever they are telling you, it is Iman. Tasdeequ bima jaa bihin nabiyyu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And for us, the most important is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because you know, the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that became complete in the messengerhood of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It became complete in the Quran. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-islam deena. To have faith in Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to believe in him and to accept whatever he says is the technical meaning of Iman. And let me quote here Allama ibn Hajar Asqalani rahimahullah. He has defined it. Al-Imanu lughatan at-tasdeeq. Literally speaking, Iman is tasdeeq, to believe in someone. Wa shar'an, and in our shara, according to our basic terminology of our deen, tasdeequr rasula bima jaa bihi an rabbihi. It is, to accept and believe in the messenger of Allah, in whatever he is saying from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa hadha al-qadru muttafaqun alayh. And this definition is agreed upon by all the Muslims. There is no controversy, no difference of opinion regarding this definition of Iman. Now, if we analyze further, whatever the prophets brought, it can be divided into two parts. First of all, the knowledge of some metaphysical truths, metaphysical realities of this universe. And number two, practical guidance. Do this, don't do this. This is halal, this is haram. You can eat this thing and not this thing. You can drink this thing, but not this thing. You can go this way, but not that way. You can have the satisfaction of your sexual urge under these rules, but not beyond them. So this is actually the practical guidance that they have brought. So we can divide what the prophets brought to us. It can be divided into two. The knowledge of metaphysical realities of this universe. I will enumerate them later on. And number two, the practical guidance, the do's and don'ts, which we call, the awamir and nawahi. These are the ahkam sharia. These are the rules of the sharia, which you have to follow and observe. But now the term Iman is reserved for the first type of the teachings of the Prophet. This Iman, although technically it includes, everything that was brought by the prophets, but it is reserved in usage for the knowledge of the metaphysical realities and truths which the prophets alayhimu salatu wasalam they brought. And again another point, there have been differences between the practical guidance and the sharia of different prophets of Allah, different messengers of Allah. As we know, the sharia of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and the sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there are minor differences. The form of prayer that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed for us, 5 prayers a day, and the form, in every rakah, the sequence of the events, that is different from the prayer that was prescribed for the former ummah. In the same way, we know the different rules of psalm, fasting. The rules for the former ummah were different, and the rules for this ummah are different. They had no concept of sihri, suhoor, to eat during the night. Once they went to sleep, their psalm, their fasting began. But here in our sharia, there is emphasis. Tasahharu fa inna fi suhoor barakah. Must eat something before dawn, because in this eating and drinking before dawn, there is barakah. So there is a fundamental difference between the rules of sharia of Moses alayhi salatu wasalam and sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So regarding the practical guidance, there have been differences, but regarding the metaphysical truths, there has been no difference whatsoever. It's the same from Adam alayhi salatu wasalam till Edam. Edam in Persian means this time. From Adam till Edam, or you may say specifically from Adam to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam wa sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there has been no difference whatsoever in the metaphysical truths which were revealed by these prophets. That is to say, the subject matter of Iman has been the same, although the practical guidance has been changing. Now we come to the third subject. What is the subject matter of Iman? And this is important as well as interesting. And I have to make a few preliminary points first. Number 1, there are 2 types of human beings. There have always been 2 types of human beings. There are 2 types of human beings, and there will always be 2 types of human beings. Most of the people, most of the humans, they are followers. In whichever society they are born, they accept the norms of that society. They don't question them. Why do we believe in this? They accept whatever their parents believe, and they start, in the journey of their life. They don't question. How do you believe it? And why do you believe it? And why should I accept anything only because you believe in those things? I must know the truth for myself. So actually, most of the people, here again I'm using the same expression, 99.9 recurrent % of people in this world have always been, are today, and will ever be followers. They follow. They don't question. They don't criticize. They don't demand arguments. But there have always been and will always be, although in minority, a microscopic minority, some people who question, why should I believe this? How come? How do you believe these things? So these people, you may call them, the intellectuals, although they are a microscopic minority. Actually, they are the pacemakers. They strive to get the truth for themselves, to have the knowledge for themselves. They make research, then they argue, they make a comparative study. Then whatever they accept, it is usually followed by others. Let me give you 2 examples, rather 3 examples. And let me start from the East. Imagine, who was Siddhartha Gautama Buddha, a prince, and living in a palace, brought up in a palace. He was the would-be king of that kingdom. That was quite a big kingdom. But that was a person of that time. He started thinking, what we believe, is it correct? Especially, why is there suffering in this world? He saw a blind man who was born blind. What was his fault? Why he was born blind? And he saw, an infant dying, and the parents standing by the side of that infant. Can't do anything. They know our beloved child is going, but they can't do anything. All this suffering, can there be any salvation? Can man be saved from this suffering? So that was the starting point of his inquiry into the reality and truth. What are the basic truths of this universe? So that was the reason why he left his palace. At the prime of his youth, he was 30 years old, married, left wife sleeping, and an infant son was also sleeping by the side of the mother. All the things, which a person loves in this world. The comforts and luxuries of the palace, a young wife, and now an infant son also. Left everything, went out into the wilderness. This is the word of the Bible, a cry from the wilderness. It is used for Hazrat Yahya alayhi salatu wassalam. So he went into wilderness. And how many years, For about 40 years, he kept roaming about to this rishi and to this muni and to this learned person and to this person. Now I don't know exactly the conclusions which he reached, and we can't say, because there are different sects of the Buddhists, and all of them, ascribe different things to Buddha. And because he belongs to an era before Christ, so it's very difficult, and that his teachings are, preserved. So I only wanted to give an example. There have been people who want to know the things for themselves, to have a direct knowledge of the basic truths of this universe. And they can sacrifice everything for that. The comforts of a palace, the luxuries of a palace, the would-be, the future, that he would be the king or the ruler of that kingdom. But he gave up everything to have the knowledge of the reality. Now let me give to the West. It's a well-known fact, you must be knowing. What happened to Socrates? Socrates. He was a thinker, a philosopher. He didn't accept what the society believed. He thought himself, he pondered over those things himself. He argued with himself. Then he reached certain conclusions. And then he started preaching. This is what I believe. To me, it appears it is like that, not according to what you believe. So there was, a controversy in the society. And then the society reacted. He was, he had to appear in a court. And the verdict of the court was, we can allow you to believe in anything you like, but we can't allow you to preach. We can't give you the freedom to challenge our beliefs and our, ideas. You can keep your ideas to yourself. You have to keep your mouth shut if you want to live. And if you can't keep your mouth shut, then this is the cup of the poison. You have to take it here and now. And you know what was the decision? He said, I can't live without saying what I believe, without preaching to others the knowledge that has come to me. I can't live. Life is meaningless. So I prefer to take this cup of poison. He took it there and then died. Now let me come to the third example, and this is from the Middle East. Who was Salman Farsi? Radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He was born in Iran, and the people worshipped fire. And he was born in the house of a priest, just like Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. He was born to Azar. And Azar, he was a priest. He used to make idols. The same was the case here. A custodian of a place of worship. Hazrat Salman radiyallahu ta'ala was born to him. But then he said to himself, it is ridiculous. We burn this fire, we add fuel to it, we light this fire. If we don't add fuel to it, it can't continue burning. And then we stand, folded hands before this fire, and you ask the blessings from this fire. It's ridiculous. I'm not ready to accept it. What was the fate? He had to leave his home and hearth, just as the father of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam said to him, Araghibun anta an alihati ya Ibrahim? La illam tantahi larjumannaka wahjurni maliya. This is in Surah Maryam alayhi salam. Are you leaving my gods, the gods whom I worship? You don't want to worship them? No, I will stone you to death if you, don't change your attitude, or you have to leave this house. Go away from my sight. Wahjurni maliya. The same fate happened and occurred to Hazrat Salman radiyallahu ta'ala an. He left his home and heart, even his country, just as Ibrahim, migrated from Iraq to Syria. He had to migrate again from Iran to Syria. What a similarity between the life of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and Hazrat Salman from Iran, Salman Farsi radiyallahu ta'ala an. He also migrated to Syria. That was the seat of learning. He became Christian, and Christianity was the Deen of Islam of that day. Because before the advent of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it was the era of the prophethood and messengerhood of Hazrat Masih alayhi salatu wasalam. So he became a Muslim, so to say. So he accepted Christianity. And he was under the training and teaching of so many rahibs, knowledgeable persons, Christians. But the last one with whom he was getting knowledge, when he was on his deathbed, Salman said to him, well, my thirst of knowledge has not been quenched up till now. Now you are also dying. Where do I go after you? And then that rahib, he said, my knowledge tells me that the time of the appearance of the last prophet has come near. And he will appear towards the south, in the lands of the dates. So go there, try your luck. If you are sincere, maybe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes you to him, and your thirst for guidance and knowledge is quenched. So after that rahib died, Hazrat Salman, he started his journey with a caravan towards the Arabian Peninsula, the land of the dates. But that caravan was looted, attacked by robbers. Salman was taken a prisoner, and what did the prisoner mean at that time? A slave. He was sold, but his purchaser was a Jew of Medina. So he reached Medina anyhow. There he heard that someone at Mecca had made a claim. He has made a claim that he is a prophet. But now he is tied in the chains of slavery. He can't go. He can't move. He's a slave now. So he kept waiting. And I do say these words about Salman raziyallahu ta'ala anhu. In Urdu we say that Kuan aaya hai chalkar pyase ke paas. Pyasa was Salman. Kuan was Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The well came over to the thirsty. In the case of Salman, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam migrated to Medina. And thus, the desire of Hazrat Salman was fulfilled. I can't go into further details. They are very interesting incident. How he approached the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The question that he asked. He had an identity told to him that this will be the identity of that Prophet. And he, he fulfilled and he satisfied himself that he is really the person to whom he had referred. So these are the three examples of those persons who don't accept things, only because people believe in them, only because their parents believed in them. They question something, they criticize them, and then they want to know the truth for themselves. And they are ready to sacrifice everything for that cause. Everything which is, loved by people, but they can sacrifice all those things for the sake of gaining the truth, the knowledge of the truth. Now, let me make another point here. These people, such people, whatever truth comes to them, then they preach. And now the followers follow them. Mostly not in their lifetime, but after them, all the people in the world, how many people are Buddhists? At least they claim to follow Buddha. How many people, all these philosophies of the West, the Greek philosophy, the realism and the idealism, they are all branches of the philosophy that were initiated by Socrates. Because Aflatun, Plato, was a disciple of Socrates. Then Aristotle, Aristoteles, he was a disciple of Plato, Aflatun. And there are only two branches of philosophy, either realism, which starts with Aristotle, or idealism, which starts from Plato, Aflatun. So all the Greek philosophy, all the Greek philosophers later on followed Socrates. But what happened to Socrates himself in his lifetime, I have told you. Same is the case of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I have told you that after the 10 years hardest labor, not more than 150 persons were there with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the 10th year after the beginning of Wahy. But how many believe in him now? So actually these are the people, we may call them the pace setters, the pacemakers. They have set the channels on which then humanity is treading and going. So they are the people who set channels of thought, lines of thought, and then the people, generally they follow those lines and they follow in the footsteps of these people. Now, let me come to the questions. What are the basic questions to which these people, the thinkers, the sages, the philosophers, they have been addressing, they have been grappling with? What are those questions? Number one, what is this universe? Has it been here in existence from ever and will continue to exist forever, or it has a beginning and an end? If it has a beginning and an end, then there must be some creator. Who is that creator? How can we know that creator? What are the attributes of that creator? We must know for ourselves. Can we have any contact with that creator? Can we approach him? Then number two, who are we? Are we just like animals? Or is there any qualitative difference between us and the animals? We find so many things common between us and animals. The animals have to eat, feed themselves, to preserve themselves. Preservation of the self. We also need food. Animals required rest. We also require rest. Animals sleep. We also sleep. Animals have sexual desire for the preservation of their species. We also have a sexual desire. So many things are common between animals and us. But are we only quantitatively different from animals? Or is there any basic and qualitative difference between us and the animals? Number one. Then what about our life? Is our life only this period of our existence here, from our birth till death? The 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years. You can add to it, according to your knowledge, another 9 months that we passed in the wombs of our mothers. So is that the only existence of ours? This is life? Was there no existence before coming to this world? before our birth or before our conception in the wombs of our mothers? And in the same way, will there be our existence after death also? Is there any form of existence beyond death? Or death is the end? Is that the end of our existence? Or is there any life after death? Or is there any existence to continue after death also? Then, what is evil? What is good? Are these ethical values, moral values, are they real? Or just apparent? As there is a saying in English language, nothing is good or bad, only thinking makes it so. Is it correct? Or the good is good and the evil is evil? Are these permanent values or not? You must be knowing that according to the Marxist philosophy, there are no permanent ethical values. With the changing of the economic conditions of the society, the values change. There are no permanent ethical moral values. Is it so? Is it correct? Then if there are permanent ethical values, why should we observe those values? Supposing I know that to tell the truth is good, to tell a lie is bad. But why should I tell the truth when I see there is danger in telling the truth? Maybe I'm killed. Maybe I'm fined because I have told the truth. Why not to escape the dangers by telling a lie? What's the motivating force? What's the motive that will make me tell a truth? Just as you know, I mentioned about Socrates. By saying out the truth, he had to finish himself. So to say, he committed suicide. He could live if he accepted the judgment of the court. You can keep your thoughts to you. You are free to believe whatever you like, but you can't preach them. He didn't accept it. So what is the force, motivating force, that will bind us to the ethical values, to the moral values? So these are the questions. What is knowledge? We know that we have certain sense organs, and we gather some information through these sense organs. We can see, we can hear. Then we know that we have some faculty over here, of inferring. We infer from our sense data. The data is fed, just, as the data is fed in a computer. We know we have a computer here. And you feed the data, and then data is processed by this computer. And we reach a conclusion. And now those conclusions are stored in the memory of this computer. This much we know. But is that all? Or there is any additional source of knowledge? Can we get knowledge through any other source? So all these questions you might be knowing and you might have appreciated. These are the basic questions of philosophy, of different disciplines of philosophy. Today, this philosophy has been divided into so many branches. Otherwise, sometime before, philosophy included metaphysics. It included ethics. It included psychology. It included epistemology. All these are the branches of philosophy. And the questions which are enumerated, they relate to different branches of philosophy. What is the nature of existence? This is the metaphysics. What is the nature of human mind? What are the motives? This is psychology. What are the sources of knowledge? How do we get knowledge? This is epistemology. Whether there are permanent ethical values or not, or what are the motivating forces to be moral in your attitude, to have a moral attitude, and to act according to the ethical values. This is ethics. So these are the different branches, different disciplines of the same subject which we call philosophy. Now another point. There has been answers to these questions, but the sources have been different. On the one side we find philosophers, thinkers, sages. You can mention Confucius, Tao, Gautam Buddha, Mahavir, You can, say Socrates, Plato, all these people, they were philosophers. They thought about these problems, they reached certain conclusions, then they arranged those ideas into a logical system, and that is called, this is the philosophy of Plato, this is the philosophy of Aristotle, this is the philosophy of Confucius. So these people, they say that we have thought upon these questions, and our mind, our intellect, our logic tells us that these are the answers to these questions. This we call philosophy. But no philosopher till this date has claimed that it is 100% true what I am saying. No philosopher up till this date. Let me mention here Allama Iqbal, the biggest poet philosopher of Islam the 20th century has produced. And you must have heard the name of his book, Reconstruction of Religious Thought in Islam. Now, in the preface to that book, he says, I don't claim that whatever I have said in this book is 100% correct. We should maintain an attitude of learning and thinking and adding to our knowledge. And maybe that as time passes, better ideas, more sound ideas are given by other people. This is the humility that he shows. And this is the case with every philosopher. No philosopher has up till this date claimed that whatever I have said or I am saying is 100% true. But the other source of answers to these questions has been that certain people claimed that we have a peculiar, exclusive source of knowledge which has come to us. It is not with you. The humanity at large has not been blessed with that source of knowledge. It is wahi from the creator of this universe. And we know for sure that these are the answers to these questions, and they are 100% correct. This is the claim of those persons whom we call prophets. A very long chain of prophets. Prophets of the Old Testament, and those before Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. It's a very big chain. And all these prophets gave answers to these questions. I shall, discuss in detail what were the answers. And actually the collective name of those answers is Iman. But here I want to make the point that these prophets claimed that we have known these answers to all these questions through a special source of knowledge which has not been given to all the human beings. And we claim that this is 100% true. There can be no doubt about it. That is why we find that the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah starts with a claim, very big claim, very loud claim. Alif Lam Mim, Zalikal Kitabu La Raiba Fi. There's no doubt about it. This is the truth. This is 100% truth. There's nothing false in it, no doubt about it. And I'll give you in the next session, inshallah, what Hazrat Ibrahim said to his father. That is the most beautiful expression of the claim the prophets made. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى كما ورد في سورة مريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واذكر في الكتاب إبراهيم إنه كان صديقا نبيا إذ قال لأبيه يا أبت لم تعبد ما لا يسمع ولا يبصر ولا يغني عنك شيئا يا أبت إني قد جاءني من العلم ما لم يأتك فاتبعني أهدك صراطا سويا. وقال تبارك وتعالى قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد صدق الله العظيم. وعن طلحة بن عباد الله رضي الله تعالى عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا رأى الهلال يقول اللهم أهله علينا بالأمن والإيمان والسلامة والإسلام. رواه الإمام الترمذي رحمه الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم ربنا نور قلوبنا بالإيمان واشرح صدورنا للإسلام ووفقنا لما تحب وترضى وتقبل منا فإنك خير المتقبلين. آمين يا رب العالمين. Dear brothers and sisters and sons and daughters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As you must be remembering, in the previous lecture, we discussed, first of all, the literal meanings of the word Iman. And then, number two, the technical definition of Iman according to the Sharia. Here I forgot to mention the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ. I narrated the hadith in the beginning, but then in the lecture I forgot to mention about it. It was the practice. Hazrat Talha, who is one of the Ashara Mubashara, the 10 topmost Sahaba, Hazrat Talha is one of them, Raziyallahu ta'ala anhu ardah. He is the reporter of this hadith, that the Prophet ﷺ, it was his practice, whenever he saw the new moon with which the new month starts according to the Islamic calendar, he used to pray, Allahumma ahillahu alayna bil amne wal imane was salamate wal islam. O Allah, O Rabb, you usher in this new month which is now beginning with this moon, with amn and iman and salama and Islam. Here in this prayer, the Prophet included and these two pairs of words, amn and iman, because iman is derived from amn. And as we shall see later on, amn is the fruit of iman. Actually, the final result of iman is to give one an inner peace. Peace in his soul, peace in his heart, the inner tranquility, the inner satisfaction, freedom from fear, freedom from grief and anxiety and sorrow. So that is actually the real fruit of Iman. So Amun and Iman and Salama of Islam. And I also recited the ayah from Surah Al-An'am in my previous lecture. That also gives us the same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks a question in that ayah, 81 of Surah Al-An'am. فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Which of the two groups has more right for this aman, for this inner peace, the peace at heart, the tranquility, inner tranquility, to be free from fear and grief and anxiety? Who of these two groups, and who are the two groups? In the preceding ayat, that is the discussion between muwahhideen and mushrikeen. So have the mushriks the right of aman, or only the mu'mins, they can get aman? فَأَيُّ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ أَحَقُّ بِالْأَمْنِ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Who of these two groups has more right and is more entitled to get inner peace? If you know, you give the answer. And then the answer was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Only those who believe, who have real iman, and then they don't pollute their iman with zulm. And by zulm here is meant shirk. And we shall see inshallah after we complete our discussion on iman, what is meant by shirk, what are the different shades of shirk, what are the different forms of shirk. So if there is iman, real iman, without any pollution of shirk in it, then those people, only those people are entitled to have the inner peace and inner tranquility. So actually these ayat and this prayer of the Prophet ﷺ I quoted as examples that Iman has a relationship with Aman. Literally this word is derived from Aman, and Aman is the fruit, the inner peace and tranquility is the fruit that you get in this world due to Iman, based on Iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the real Iman. Then we proceeded to the third topic, the subject matter of Iman. And I told you, Iman deals with the same problems, with the same questions with which all the philosophers, all the thinkers, all the sages, whether they belong to East or to the West, they had been grappling. The same questions have been answered by prophets, alayhimu salatu wassalam, on the basis of a claim that we have a special source of knowledge which is not available to the other human beings. And the answers to these questions to us have come through that special source. But I forgot to make one point at that place, and that is, as I told you, there are two types of human beings. People who follow blindly, don't question. In whichever society they are born, they accept whatever is being believed there, and they start their practical journey of life. They don't question it. But there have been, and there will always be, although a microscopic minority, but people who question. Why should I believe it? How do you believe it? What's the argument? And then rejecting the beliefs and the norms of their society, then they take upon themselves to know the truth for themselves. So these two types of persons always existed, although the great majority belong to the first category. 99.9 recurrent % people belong to that first category. Only 0.01, or to be more correct, 0.001% belong to the second category. In this same way, there are two branches of knowledge. One is the knowledge of the physical world, and the source to get that knowledge, these are two sources. The sense organs, you see, you hear, you touch, you taste, you smell, the 5 basic sense organs. You get the sense data. Then there is the computer which processes that data, infers, argues, reaches some conclusions, then that is stored in the memory of this mind. And in this way, that physical knowledge, it has been progressing from Adam till Edom, and it will continue progressing till that time that this world comes to an end. This is one source of knowledge, one line of knowledge, one branch of knowledge, knowledge of the physical world, knowledge of the physical things, and this is the science which we call science and technology. This is one branch of knowledge. But we find in history that there was a yearning, an urge in human beings to have the total knowledge, to know what this universe is, where from has it come, what we are, what is the nature of existence, where are we heading, is there any existence of ours beyond the death, or death is the end? So these questions which I enumerated in my previous lecture, they are the basic questions with which the philosophers grapple. And what is this philosophy? An endeavor on the part of human beings to know the total truth. We must know the total truth, because our behavior in this world, the practical attitude that we adopt in this world, is based on some philosophy, some ideology. Whether you believe that this is the life, only worldly life, there's no life beyond death, or you believe that there is a life after death, and we will be brought to the book. We will have to explain our conduct in this world. We will have to face the grand accountability of the Day of Judgment. Now the result is, it's wide apart. A person who thinks that only this world is our life, the natural and logical result would be Babar Baish Kosh ke alam dobara nist. Enjoy yourself, eat, drink and be merry. And don't worry what is halal, what is haram, what is permissible, what is not permissible. You should have the maximum sensual gratification that you can have. You should have and accumulate all the wealth that you can. You should have all the luxuries of life that you can have. You must enjoy yourself to the maximum because there is not going to be any other life. But if a person thinks and believes there is going to be another life and we will have to explain our conduct in this world, so now the attitude will be absolutely different. So every person has a philosophy of his own. Whether he has thought over it and chosen a philosophy for himself, consciously, willingly, or he is only following a philosophy that is, accepted by his society. The questions are the same. The answers which the people believe, they take them for granted. Okay, there's no life, or there is life after death. Okay, we are like animals. No, we are not like animals. We have a special existence. They accept those ideas and they, start their life accordingly. But every person has a philosophy. Every person has his own worldview. Every person has his own Weltanschauung, which is called in the German philosophy. This is the basic term. The worldview, your own view of this universe, your own views about your life, your own view about your reality, your own view about ethics. Everybody has it. Maybe he's saying something else, doing something else. But whatever he is doing is the real philosophy that he has in his mind. Because he is acting to his philosophy, his ideology, his worldview, his Weltanschauung, that is there with every human being, whether consciously or unconsciously. Now, I told you that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, when Wahi came to him, he said to his father, in beautiful verse, Ya Abate, oh my dear father, my beloved father, my respected father, Inni qad ja'ani min al-ilmi ma lam yatik. To me has come a knowledge which didn't come to you. I told you that the questions are the same, the philosophical questions. But the modes of answering those questions are different. The philosopher said, we feel it is like that. Our intellect, our reasoning, our argument, our logic, it leads us to these conclusions. Maybe we are correct, maybe there is some mistake. I told you, no philosopher till this date has claimed certainty. No philosopher up till date. And I quoted Allama Iqbal, the biggest poet philosopher the world of Islam has produced in the 20th century of Christian era. The humility that he has. I don't claim that whatever I have said in these lectures, the reconstruction of religious thought in Islam, it is the final truth. We should maintain an attitude, a student-like attitude, to go on thinking, exploring, and maybe that as time passes, more sound ideas are presented. So that is the position of Allama Iqbal, and that is the position of every philosopher or thinker or sage. But as for the prophets, they claim certainty. Alif Lam Mim, Zalikal Kitabu la Rayba Fih. There's no doubt in this book. No book in this world starts with this loud claim, big claim, tall claim. No book. It's just possible that might be that Torah also started with this claim. It might have been, but because it has not been preserved, we can't say. It's just possible that Injil might have started with such a claim. Just possible. We can't say because Injil has not been preserved. But the real fact remains that no book in this world exists which starts with this claim that this is the truth, this is the total truth. There is no iota of doubt in it. Alif Lam Mim, Zalikal Kitabu la Rayba Fih, Hudan lil Muttaqeen. This is the guidance, the total guidance. And I gave you the example of Hazrat Ibrahim. A son saying to his father. The father could have said, you are my son, I am your father. I have more experience. You were just born, I have brought you up before my eyes. You are going, you are being brought up. And you say, I must follow you. But the argument that Hazrat Ibrahim presented was, Ya abati inni qad ja'ani min al-ilmi ma lam yatik fattabi'ni ahdika siratan saviyya. Oh dear father, to me a special knowledge has come, which didn't reach you. So you have to follow me. Fattabi'ni, follow me. Ahdika siratan saviyya. I will lead you to the right path. So that is the, position of the prophets. The difference. Questions are the same, but the modes of answering, the source of the knowledge, different. Philosophers, they are saying from their own minds, their own intellects, their own reasoning. And the prophets claim it's not our ideas. We don't claim the proprietorship of these ideas. We are not the authors of these books. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never said, I am the author of this book. What a beautiful book I have written, which had been accepted as the topmost example of Arabic literature. Till this date, even the Christians and the Jews who are Arabs, they accept that this is the biggest piece of literature in Arabic language. But Muhammad didn't claim that I wrote it. On the contrary, he said, no. It's the revelation, it's Allah's book. He has revealed it to me. So that is the difference. But it is 100% correct. Now let us go to the fourth discussion, fourth topic. What were the answers, but I should say what are the answers given by all the prophets to these basic philosophical questions? And I told you in the previous lecture that these answers have been the same from Adam to Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There has been no difference. There has been difference in the practical guidance, in the Sharia, in the rules, in the detailed laws of the Sharia. The Sharia of Moses and Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they differ in many aspects. But no difference regarding this Iman. The answers to these philosophical questions have been the same throughout. Now please, one by one. Answer number one. This universe which is extending before our eyes, and we don't know the size of this universe till this date. We might claim that our knowledge has, progressed tremendously, but still we don't know where it begins, where it ends. But we know for certain that this universe has a beginning and an end. It didn't exist forever, from ever, and it will not continue forever. This is the first answer. This is hadis, not qadim. This is fani, not baqi. This is the terminology of the Muslim philosophers. Hadis versus qadim. Hadis, something which didn't exist before and then it came into existence. Qadim, something which was existing all the times, from ever. Baqi, which will remain forever. And fani, which is going to perish, which is going to end. This universe is hadis and it is fani. It has a beginning and it has an end. Now please note one point. Previously the physicists, they thought, the physicists of the Newtonian era, they thought that matter is indestructible. This universe is from ever, will remain forever. It has no beginning and no end. But this era of physics, which is called the Einstein era of physics, after the theory of relativity, there is a revolution in the field of physics. Now you must have heard the Big Bang theory. Now it is accepted. It has a beginning. It started with a big explosion, the Big Bang. And from that moment it is expanding, the theory of expanding universe. In a spiral way it is extending. But a time will come when it will recoil, it will go again, and it will become one point. Just as so many galaxies, they have perished, and now they are represented by black holes in this universe, in this atmosphere, in this universe, actually. So that is, here science now has come very near to the answer that was given by the prophets. The answer was, this universe, this existence, it has not existed from ever, it will not remain forever. It started at a particular moment in time, and it will end up. It might be billions and trillions years, from this date, but this is accepted by the science, that it will come to an end. Answer number 2. This universe is hadis and fani. But there is a person, let me use this word, because we believe in a personal God, not impersonal God. There is a person who created this universe, and that person, he, now let me use the pronoun, because the word person, it doesn't appear to be good for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He, now, I use this pronoun. He is from ever and will remain forever. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن. He created this universe, and he is the creator. And this universe is the creature. It was created by him. He is alone. One, not only one, alone. Please note, there's a world of difference between one and alone. To one, there is a second one. To a second one, there is a third one. Possibilities are there. Alone. None with him. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Not only Wahid. Al-Wahidul Qahhar. These words also occur for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Ahad is, much stronger word for this concept. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Proclaim, Allah is alone. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. He is one and alone. He has no beginning, no end. He existed from ever. He will remain and exist forever. He is Qadeem. He is Baqi. Allahu Baqi. وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. He is the only existence that will continue forever. Number 3, call him by any name. All the good names belong to him. Lahul asmaul husna. And all the good attributes are with him to the maximum extent. Absolute, limitless. Any value that you can imagine, any good thing that you can imagine is in his person, present with him, and boundless with no limits. Power, authority, qudra, huwa ala kulli shayin qadir. He has all power, all authority, can do everything. Fa'alul lima yurid, yaf'alu ma yasha. He can do whatever he likes, and he has the authority for everything. And this, in English you say, he is omnipotent. This is the attribute. Now you have another attribute of ilm. It's a value. A person who has knowledge is better, is superior to a person who doesn't have knowledge. قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. They are not equal. But now he has all the knowledge. هُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا تُسِرُّونَ وَمَا تُعْلِنُونَ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. Whatever you hide, he knows it. Whatever you express, he knows it. Whatever is there in your hearts, you yourself might not be conscious of it. Because today we know there are levels, conscious level of our mind, the subconscious level of our mind, the unconscious level of our mind. 3 levels. Maybe I am not conscious of what I have in my mind, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows even those things which are there in your mind, in your hearts, but you are not conscious of it. So he is omniscient. Then you have another value, life. A living thing is at a higher level of existence than something which doesn't have any life. So it's a value. He is Al-Hayy. He is the living one. And really, he only is the living one. His life doesn't depend upon food. Your life depends upon food. You can't live without air. You can't live without water. You can't live without food. But he, yut'imu wala yut'am. He feeds you, but he doesn't need any food. Inna Allah huwa ar-razzaqu dhul quwwati al-mateen. He gives, he feeds everything, but he doesn't need any food for himself. Then your life, there are so many weaknesses with it. You are tired. You go to sleep. He is never tired. وَمَا مَسَّنَا مِن لُغُوبٍ. Never any fatigue, or we were never fatigued, we were never tired. Fatigue cannot, touch us. Then he will never die. And he doesn't go to sleep. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. He was neither begotten nor he begets. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. So actually all these things, if you take them together, all these answers to the basic metaphysical questions, if you take them together, they are called Iman billah. Or you can denote it with one word, Tawheed. This is Tawheed. One creator. This universe is creature. It was created. There is one creator. That creator is from ever, will remain forever. He is alone in his person. He is unique in his attributes. Nobody, nothing, no person like him in any respect. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ قُلِ ادْعُوا اللَّهَ وَادْعُوا الرَّحْمَنَ أَيَّمَّا تَدْعُوا فَلَهُ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. Call him by Allah, call him by the name of Ar-Rahman. Whomsoever you are addressing, you must know that he has all the good names, he has all the attributes, and all his attributes are absolute, without any limits, boundless. So these are concepts taken together. You call them Tawheed or Iman billah. Now come to the second article of faith, or second article of Iman. And this is, a bit lengthy one. You have to understand it, because I want that you should know the logic of this Iman. First of all, man is the masterpiece of his creation. He created him as his vicegerent, his Khalifa. Inni ja'ilun fil ardi Khalifa. He is the masterpiece of creation. To the extent that he ordered all the angels to prostrate before Adam. فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ كُلُّهُمْ أَجْمَعُونَ. All the angels, all of them, they fell before Adam in prostration. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ بِالرُّوحِ فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. This was the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to all the angels. When I have created him and I have given him the final finishing touches, then instilled in him and blown into him from my own spirit, then fall down before him in prostration. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. This man has a double existence, composite existence. It has an animal being and a spiritual being. Two absolutely independent, different, and rather opposite existences. They are included in one existence in this man. The beautiful couplet from Sheikh Sadi is, Admi zada turfa ma'jun ast, as farishta sarishta was haywan. This human being, it's a very peculiar, composite type of existence it has. Double. As Farishta, Sarishta was Haiwan. Within his personality, there is an angel also, and there is a Haiwan, and an animal also. So we have a double existence, animal existence, bodily existence, animal existence, and a spiritual existence. And actually, as I quoted you the ayah, فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. His spiritual existence is supreme. No one in this universe is equal to the high level of spiritual existence that man has been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the spirit which was blown into Adam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it Ruhi, my spirit. When I have created Adam, given him my finishing touches, and I have blown or instilled into him from my own spirit, then fall before him in prostration. The same words, appear in the Quran twice. In Surah Al-Hijr and in Surah Al-Sad, same words. فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. This spirit of his, it was created much earlier than this bodily existence. All the spirits of all the human beings were created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala much before the creation of this universe. Much before the creation of this physical universe. Science cannot reach that point. Science has reached up to the Big Bang. But what was there before the Big Bang, That is Alamul Amr. This is Alamul Khalq. Ala lahul khalq wal amr. These are two different planes of existence. But this ruh, this, the spirits of human beings, they belong to Alam Amr. يَسَأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. This is the Amr of Rabb. This is the Amr of my Lord. This doesn't belong to this physical world. Although our bodies, our animal existence belongs to this physical world. These two alams, Alamul Amr or Alamul Khalq, only they are joined together in human beings. No other creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has both these alams, both these worlds joined together in his existence. Number 3, the life of this vicegerent of Allah, this masterpiece of creation, خَلَقْتُهُ بِيَدَيَّ, whom I have created with both of my hands, خَلَقْتُهُ بِيَدَيَّ, whom I have made supreme over all the other creatures. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِّمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا تَفْضِيلًا. I am only referring to these ayat. I am not translating them. But this tells, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have given him fazila over our creatures. Now the life of this vicegerent of Allah is not these 30, 40, 60, 80 years. Is that the whole life? उम्र दराज मांग के लाए थे 4 दिन, 2 आरजू में कट गए 2 इंतजार में. These 30, 40, 60, 70 years. And subtract from this period also the period of your childhood, early adolescence, when you knew nothing. Again subtract from this period also beyond 80s or maybe 85, 90 maybe, if somebody is existing after that, لَا يَعْلَمَ مِنْ بَعْدِ عِلْمٍ شَيْئًا. His faculties now decreasing, his intelligence going, his memory leaving him. So now within those 2 limitations, you have at the most 30, 40 years of a conscious life in which you think, you take decisions, you do something, you make something or unmake something. So actually, is this the only period of our existence? If it is so, how can we accept that he is the vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He has that high position. So actually it's not so. Life of human beings is much longer, much longer, much longer. Rather, although it has a beginning, but that beginning is not from the birth in this world. not from the conception in the wombs of our mothers. I have lived in this world 61 and a half years. You may add 9 months that I passed in the womb of my mother. Is that the all? No. You were created long before in the forms of spirit. And all the spirits of all human beings were created at once. And then they stood, we all stood before our Lord. And He got the covenant from us. Alastu bi rabbikum? Qalu bala. Am I not your Lord? Why not? We accept you, our Lord. This is the ahad, ahdu alast. This is the covenant that was taken from all the human beings. We were all present there, having self-consciousness. You know, whenever you make an agreement with somebody, you say, I am making this agreement, fully conscious of what I am saying. Baqaimiye hosho hawas. I am committing this thing. I am knowing what I am saying. And I take full responsibility. That big covenant, alastu bi rabbikum qalu bala, could it be without our self-consciousness? If it was without self-consciousness, it has no value. It carries no weight. So we were present there. The beginning was from that time. But we can say that there is no end to human life, because we know it for sure. It has been given in the Quran hundreds of times. Khalidina fiha abada. We will exist forever. We have a beginning but no end. This is the position of human being. That is why Iqbal said, Tu ise paimana-e imroz-o farda se na naap. You are measuring your life with this small, this measure of day and night. One day, one night go to make one day. And then 7 days go to make a week. And then, 52 weeks go to make a year. And then you are 62 years old. And you lived here so many years. Is that the measure of your life? Tu ise paimana-e imroz-o farda se na naap. Javedan, peham dama, hardam jama hai zindagi. It's to continue forever. There's not going to be any end. That is life. That's the reality of human life. Now what has happened? From that very long life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala separated a very small chunk with a pause in between. That pause is death. मौत एक जिंदगी का वक्फा है, यानी आगे बढ़ेंगे दम लेकर. Death is not the end of our existence. It's not the end. It's the beginning of the real life. This small chunk which has been taken away, separated from that long life by this small pause of death, this is our worldly life which we are leading here. And this is actually a period of testing. خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. This period of 30 years, it's a period of testing. لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. You have been given this body, physical body. You have these limbs. You can do something. You can work. You can strive for something. And you are being tested whether you are working according to the pleasure of your Lord and Creator, or you are going astray. You are turning back from your Lord and Creator, with whom you made a covenant. Alastu bi rabbikum qalu bala. This is the only purpose of this life. And Iqbal, I give him so much importance, because he has actually explained very subtle and very, deep concepts of Iman and Quran in very simple ways. Sarvari zeba faqat us zaate be hamta ko hai, hukmara hai ek wahi, baqi butane hazri. Is it poetry? It's not that poetry, the classical poetry of the poets, of the Indian poets, of Ishq and Hijr and Wisal and Mahbub and his eyes or her eyes. All these things, they were the subjects of poetry. But Iqbal has used this medium to express the essence of Deen. Sarvari zeba faqat us zaate be hamta ko hai, hukmara hai ik wahi, baki butane adri. Whosoever claims sovereignty for himself, he is claiming to be God, to be equal to God. This is the shirk, biggest shirk of our times. This is the simplest form of saying that biggest truth, the biggest philosophy. That's the basis of Islamic State, the system of caliphate. In the same way, what is this life? Don't think these 40, 60, 70 years, that is your life. You are mistaken. Tu isse paiman hai imrozo farda se na naap. Javeda peham dawa, hardam jawa hai zindagi. And the last, couplet of this poem is Qulzume hasti se tu ubra hai maninde habab, is zaya khane mein tera imtihan hai zindagi. This is imtihan. This is the period of testing. Khalaq al-maut wal-hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. He has actually expressed very beautifully the meanings and the essence of this ayah. There is in Surah Ad-Dar, min nutfatin amshajin nabtalihi faja'alnahu samiyyan basira. We have created man from, mixed nutfa, because that zygote, after, fertilization of the ovum from the mother, in the uterus of the mother, the sperm goes and fertilizes it. And from that, now it's one cell. This is the nutfatin amshajin. Inna khalaqna al-insana min nutfatin amshajin. Nabtalihi. To test him, this period of our life, this small chunk of our life, over 30 years, we have been given this body, this animal existence, to prove our worth. نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. This is the period of testing. It's only a matter of time. During this world, you appear in examinations. Usually the duration of an examination is 3 hours. And this examination is for 30 years. The difference is only quantitative, not qualitative. When 3 hours have passed, there is a loud announcement. Stop writing. The same thing will happen to each of us. Now death has come. There is your period of testing, gone. Whatever you had to prove, you have proved already. Whatever you could earn, the evil or the good, you have earned it already. Stop now. Now wait for the result of the examination to be declared. And that is actually the day of judgment. All people will die. The most famous and I think the first sermon that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam delivered. And I couldn't find it in the collection of ahadith that we have, Ahlus Sunnah. This sermon has been reported in Nahjul Balagha, the book that was compiled by Hazrat Ali radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. His writings, his judgments are included in and his sermons, his khutbahs. And in that there is a chapter of sermons of the Prophet, Khutbatul Nabawi. And there you find that sermon. That when the order came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَأَنزِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, then the Prophet invited all the Bani Hashim to meals. After feeding them, then he stood up to present his message. But there was hooting. People, they didn't listen. They went away without listening to him. But after some days, he again called them. He again invited all the Bani Hashim to meals. This time, they felt some shame. We have taken food twice, so let us listen what he has to say. Then he delivered that khutbah. إِنَّ الرَّائِدَ لَا يَكْذِبُ أَهْلَهُ وَاللَّهِ لَوْ كَذَبْتُ النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا مَا كَذَبْتُكُمْ وَلَوْ غَرَرْتُ النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا مَا غَرَرْتُكُمْ وَاللَّهِ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ إِنِّي لَرَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكُمْ خَاصَّةً وَإِلَى النَّاسِ كَافَّةً وَاللَّهِ لَتَمُوتُنَّ كَمَا تَنَامُونَ ثُمَّ لَتُبْعَثُنَّ كَمَا تَسْتَيْقِظُونَ ثُمَّ لَتُحْسَبُنَّ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ ثُمَّ لَتُجْزَوُنَّ بِالْإِحْسَانِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِالسُّوءِ سُوءًا وَإِنَّهَا لَجَنَّةٌ أَبَدًا أَوْ لَنَارٌ أَبَدًا. Most beautiful sermon. I have included this sermon in a booklet of mine in Urdu, Dawat ilallah. The text and translation is there. And this is included also in the English translation of that pamphlet, Call to Allah. The text of this khutbah as well as the translation in English is there. I am not going to devote any time to the translation here. But I want to mention it, that Ba'as Ba'd al-Maut, resurrection after death. Then you will have to assemble before your Lord. This is called Hashr. Then you will have to face the accountability. You will have to present your account, your whole account of this life that you passed in this world. What good you have earned, what evil you have earned. Laha ma kasabat wa alayha maktasabat. Then there will be judgment. This is the day of judgment. We call it Deen. And according to the judgment, you will be rewarded. وَإِنَّهَا لَجَنَّةٌ أَبَدًا أَوْ لَنَارٌ أَبَدًا وَاللَّهِ لَتَمُوتُنَّ كَمَا تَنَامُونَ. I swear by God, by Allah, you will all die as you go to sleep every night. Then you will be resurrected as you wake up every morning. Then you will be brought to the book. You will have to present your account. You will have to face the accountability. Then you will be rewarded. Good reward for good deeds. Bad punishment for bad deeds. وَإِنَّهَا لَجَنَّةٌ أَبَدًا أَوْ لَنَارٌ أَبَدًا. It's going to be either the heavens, the paradise forever, or the hell, fire of hell forever. Now taken together all these things, this is Iman bil Akhirah or Ma'ad. They started with Tawheed or Iman Billah, and this is Ma'ad or Iman bil Akhirah. Now we come to the third, and here we have to start with a question. You know, you test somebody after teaching him something, after giving him something. You have taught the class for full 1 year. Then you ask them to appear in the examination and prove whether you have actually learnt or not, you understood or not, whether you are eligible for the next class for promotion or not. But you must teach them something. Then you can take examination. Then you can ask them to appear in the examination. In the same way, you give someone something and then test. For example, you give a $10 bill to your son, your small son, child. Maybe he is 6 years, 7 years. Then you see what he does. Whether he runs to a candy shop or he goes to a bookshop. And you will understand what is his temperament, what is his aptitude, what are his priorities. He, either purchases some toys or some books. What are his tendencies. So actually you test by giving something, and you give examination to a person after teaching him something. What has been taught? What we have been taught? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us. What have been given? We have been given. On the basis of what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us. This is the question. And question is should always be there if you want increase in your knowledge. First you postulate a question. Then you try to find the answer to that question. And that's the only way of increase in knowledge. You advance in knowledge after having questions before you. So this is the question. On what basis am I going to be judged? What was given to me? What was I taught? So please note the answer to this question. Number one, he gave you, or I should say, as if I am, saying whatever has been given in the Quran. We gave you, Allah says, we gave these human beings eyes to see, ears to hear, and mind to ponder upon. Basic faculty. Even our animal existence has got these faculties. Inna sam'a wal basara wal fu'ada kullu ulaika kana anhu mas'oola. Every one of them is responsible and accountable on the basis of these basic faculties that have been bestowed on them. They hear, they see, and then they argue and infer. Inna sam'a wal basara wal fu'ada kullu ulaika kana anhu mas'oola. Don't you see our signs in this universe? أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ وَإِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ وَإِلَى الْجِبَالِ كَيْفَ نُصِبَتْ وَإِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ. Don't you see with your eyes? Are you blind? Who He is, who has created all this? These are all signs, all our creations, all the physical phenomena, they are our signs. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار والفلك التي تجري في البحر بما ينفع الناس وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون. These are the signs. Look to them. खोल आँख, ज़मीन देख, फलक देख, फजा देख, मशरिक से उभरते हुए सूरज को जरा देख. You open your eyes and see. But don't see only with the eyes of an animal. Don't hear only with the eyes of an animal. You must think over what you are seeing. You must ponder over what you are hearing. You must be a human being. So that is the basic faculty. The same, thing has been given in that ayah. إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. They made him Sami and Basir. He sees and listens. So these are the basic faculties. Number two, He has instilled within the human nafs the ability to discriminate between good and evil. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا طَحَاهَا وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. We have given this knowledge to every human being. What is good, what is evil. What is maruf, what is munkar. That is why what is the meaning of maruf? Something which is recognized. And what is munkar? Something which you don't recognize. Your nature abhors evil. Or your nature, by very nature, you love good. So actually this is there, this knowledge of evil and good that is inherent in our personalities. That is the basis of the judgment. Basis number two. First of all, the faculties of seeing and hearing and arguing. Inna sam'a wal basara wal fuad kullu ulaika kana anhu mas'oola. Inna khalaqna al-insana min nutfatin amshajin nabtalihi faja'alnahu samiyan basira. Number two, the basic discrimination. Man knows by his very nature what is good, what is evil. Number three, and it's on top of all, in the spirit that we have instilled in you, blown into you, you have two things. You have a cognition of Allah, of Rabb, Ma'rifah, inherent in the souls and spirits of human beings. And number two, the love of Allah that is inherent in the spirit. It is from Him. And there's a saying in proverb in Arabic language, كُلُّ شَيْءٍ يَرْجِعُ إِلَىٰ أَصْلِهِ. Everything wants to return to its origin. Where from it has come, it wants to go there. كُلُّ شَيْءٍ يَرْجِعُ إِلَىٰ أَصْلِهِ. And you might be knowing that in physics we know today that all the rays which are coming from the sun, they have come billions and trillions of miles away. But there is an inherent tendency in every ray. By making a very big circle, they want to return to the sun. كُلُّ شَيْءٍ يَرْجِعُ إِلَىٰ أَصْلِهِ. So these, our souls, our spirits, because they have come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَسَأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. they have a tendency, they want to get nearer and nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They want to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So actually that is the tendency inherent in you. We blew into you from our own spirit. And in that spirit of yours, you have the cognition, the gnosis. You spell it with G, gnosis, but it is pronounced as gnosis. The knowledge, the marfa, the cognition, recognition, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is inherent in your souls and spirits. And the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is inherent in your souls and spirit. When human nature is perverted, he attaches that love to something else. That love actually is inherent in you, so that you should love Allah, your creator, your sustainer. But you start loving this world, the luxuries of this world, the sensual gratifications, the wealth, the nation, the country, some ideology. एक तसव्वुर के हुस्न मुबहम पर सारी हस्ती लुटाई जाती है. There are people who have sacrificed everything they had for the cause of some ideology. Had the communists, not sacrificed their lives, all their belongings, they faced the firing squads, laid down their lives. For what? For an idea, ideology. एक तसव्वुर के हुस्न मुबहम पर सारी हस्ती लुटाई जाती है. जिंदगी तरके आरजू के बाद कैसे सांसों में ढाली जाती है. If there is no goal in life, if there is no aim for living, if you don't have any ideal, if you don't have any adarsh, if you don't have any nasab al-ain, actually you are living as animals, not as human beings. So that is it. And actually this love in you was created so that you should love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the basis of these 5 faculties, sense organs and the intellect, then the discrimination, the knowledge of evil and good, then the cognition of Allah and love of Allah inherent in human spirits. On the basis of these you will be judged on the day of judgment. Every human being will be judged there, whether there was any prophet sent or not, whether there was any messenger of Allah sent or not, whether there was any book revealed or not. But it is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has made that test and examination easy for you by sending wahi through his angels to selected persons, selected human beings. Inna Allah astafa Adama wa Nuhan wa ala Ibrahim wa ala Imran adal alameen. He selected them. And these peoples, they were above doubt in character. Nobody could point any finger to their character. They were above doubt. And then they were selected, wahi was sent to them, and then they were appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide people to the right path, to convey to them the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then present in their own life, in their own character, a model for humanity to follow. These people we call prophets or messengers of Allah. The message which came, that is wahi. That was recorded in the form of books. And who brought this wahi? They are the angels. So now you join these things. Iman bil malaika, Iman bil kutub, Iman bil anbiya wa rusul. And this we call Iman bil risalah. This is the 3rd article of faith. 3rd pillar of Iman. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات.